to the Kennedy Events Podcast, where we feature top marketing, communications, and future of work leaders and share their biggest takeaways and insights. We love these conversations and hope you will too. Let's get started.
Hello and welcome to the Solution Seekers Podcast. I'm your host, Paige Buck. Past guests include Pam Perez of the Chase Center, John Silva of Culinary Eye, and Elaine Honig of Studio 440. And today I am delighted to have Joel Costa, Director of Sales and Marketing at One Hotel San Francisco. He has rich experience in the hotel and hospitality industry with tenures at many Ritz Carlton hotel venues, Marriott, W Hotels, and more. In his spare time, he enjoys being a gentleman farmer in Lake County, which we'll be sure to ask him about. And before we dive in, today's episode is brought to you by Kennedy Events. Kennedy Events creates stress-free conferences and events, providing expert management and design for all your corporate event needs, from hybrid to in-person and virtual. You can learn more about us at kennedyevents.com. And enough about that, let's talk to Joel. Hi, Joel.
Hi, Paige. Thank you for having me.
I am so delighted to be catching up with you, and I'm super curious to learn more about this absolutely beautiful, inspiring space that you now get to be in every day and bring people to. What inspired One Hotel and the whole vibe that you've created in San Francisco?
Well, if anybody out there doesn't know, One Hotels is a brand of SH Hotels, the umbrella, which was created by Barry Sternlicht, the same gentleman that created W Hotels and Starwood Hotels back in the day, sold that whole entity off to Marriott. And in the meantime, he had been preparing to launch a new hotel brand, One Hotels, which he was inspired by basically doing no harm to the planet in what he does as a land developer. So whether it's building a new hotel or refurbishing an old building into a hotel, he basically created a pathway to make sure that he would limit the footprint on the planet by doing so. And that's everything from how things are constructed, the materials chosen, the methods of construction, as well as disposal of waste. Everything you can think of that goes into tearing land apart and rebuilding it can put some major footprints on the planet. So he sought a way to change that and make that the DNA of this brand. And the name One Hotels was inspired by the U2 song that we're One World. So we are just a part of this world, and we're trying to do as much good as we possibly can. So everything we do is rooted in asking the right questions about sustainability, about things being ethically sourced and ethically produced. It's more of a 360 view, not just about whether or not something's made of a recycled material. It's about how you do it, the choices that you make. So yeah, that's what inspired. And then Barry is definitely designed forward, creating a brand like W. Obviously, at its time, it was groundbreaking. So this next iteration of a hotel brand that he wanted to create to align with the sustainability DNA, he really chose nature as being our designer. So letting the outdoors in, choosing natural materials, a lot of plant life. We have a huge investment in biophilic design throughout our spaces. So
I'm going to pause you right there. What is biophilic?
So biophilic design is design using plants, simply.
Look at that. I learned a new word. I love it.
Yeah, you can go into lots of public spaces and see lots of plants. Look closely, they're either real or they're fake. You will find no fake plants whatsoever in our buildings. Even the image behind me is our restaurant, Tureen, which has a living ceiling. Now, if you go up and look at it, you'll notice that it's not actual live plants and dirt that are being watered. They're actually preserved plants. They're coated in a seaweed product that helps them remain basically alive. They can take moisture out of the air. They're also ionized to prevent dust from landing on them and clogging them up, so to speak. So these plants can actually live on for 10 to 15 years minimum.
That's incredible. Okay, I've learned a lot about living walls from an amazing man that installed and maintained the one that's at SF MoMA.
Funny you mentioned them, they actually installed our monument sign on the corner of the building.
Yeah, they do incredible. And that he helped me appreciate that, it's not I would have understood this on a base level, but you don't install it and walk away and it, is self-sustaining. It needs constant maintenance, but it even needs it needs to be adapted and adjusted in that first couple of years to what the real experience of it is in the elements. And what you were just describing of that ceiling behind you is incredible. Like,
Yeah.
the dust right off the bat, I'm like, oh yeah, those ferns would look disgusting in 5 minutes, alive or plastic. But they've got some special property imbued into them that keeps them from that.
Yeah. It's almost like those roses that last forever. It's the same concept.
Yep, those roses last forever, just enough to creep you out a little bit. Like,
Yeah, but no chemicals involved, all natural products.
that's really incredible. And I'm curious to know, it's inspiring because these are two really wasteful industries, right? I think construction and events, of course, events being like trade show, hospitality, the whole darn thing, footprint are like the top 5, if not the top 2 most wasteful industries. So is some of the goal trying to like demonstrate that it's possible?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, we just, as of today, coincidentally, by the way, today officially launched a new initiative with our brand of hotels, which incidentally, just to remind anybody that doesn't know, One Hotels, we have 11 operating properties right now. So that's our 2 in New York, which is Central Park and Brooklyn Bridge. We have Hanalei Bay in Hawaii, on the island of Kauai, Nashville, San Francisco, of course, South Beach, Miami, which was the first in 2015. We have Toronto, West Hollywood, and then we also have London Mayfair, which just opened 2 weeks ago, and then Haitang Bay in China. We also have kind of an open property in Cabo. It's actually homes and villas only right now in Cabo, but there is a hotel project underway there too. And then we have several other projects, Austin, Copenhagen, Denmark, Alonda Hills in Crete. We have Paris, as well as Melbourne, Australia, and then hopefully there's other brands as well that are expanding within our umbrella called Treehouse and Baccarat. If you know the Baccarat in New York, it's expanding as well, so we'll have more of those. All 3 based on sustainability as our DNA.
So you're saying that you just launched an initiative, and I know it's because you were like, I'm recording a podcast with Kennedy Events today. We have to launch it. No, completely coincidental. Tell me about what you've launched.
No, yeah. In fact, it should have really launched last week, but they were just tightening up a couple of things. But I know some social media went out today. So it is called Certified Sustainable Gatherings. So what we have done is partnered with a group called the Footprint Group, which helps us with our zero waste initiatives in our kitchens throughout our properties. And so the essence of what a certified sustainable gathering is, we have 3 levels. We have something called Evolve, where we can work with our customers to educate them on ways that they can make their events more sustainable. Essentially hand them a handbook, a guidebook, as well as a list of certified sustainable partners that are local or national to partner with, that definitely have gone through the rigors of making sure that they are a sustainable and ethically sourced business. On top of that, you can move up to a level called Impact, in which we actually will measure the impact of your meeting with us, everything from the menus that you choose to different items that you put in the room. Every detail of the actual planning of your event will be weighed and measured in essence. And then you can get a certification stating that you were at least 90% or more diversion from landfill. So that's our minimum goal, is 90%. However, we did a bunch of tests before this launched, and most of the properties, when they have these sustainable events, did over 90% waste diversion. Wow. In fact, our own kitchen here at this hotel, on a regular basis, monthly testing shows us to be at least 92 to 94% waste diversion.
That's incredible.
So certificate is level 2. Level 3 is not only the certificate, but also the detailed report of everything that's weighed and measured, so that you can take that back to your CSR team or what have you. There's also an option to hire a Footprint Group or one of our local consultants to help you along the way, besides working with our CSM, and other staff here on the property. If you want a true, sustainably sourced professional that can help you with every detail, you can hire them separately as well.
That's incredible. Do you have a sense, we were talking about like proof of concept, proof of ability, that it feels like there are a lot of There are a lot of barriers people overcome, even just have to overcome even in their thinking to take this on. But I also know there's a lot of demand and desire for this.
Well, yeah, it's easier than you think in some ways, just to put some thought to it and execute properly. But to make it even more easier, our brand is designed to be to have zero footprint. We actually operate as a net zero carbon neutral company in the United States, and our foreign properties, we're striving for the end of 25. So by simply choosing one of our hotels and working with us, you're not adding to the footprint because we purchase the carbon offsets.
Yeah,
so that
you're already you're quite a ways toward your goal just by coming to you, for sure.
Exactly. But obviously you can choose other locations and learn how to apply similar things to your planning that can reduce waste and reduce energy.
Do you think is there a long-term plan to like educate and lift up the industry?
Well, I think that's part of the mission of our brand in general, but it's, through subtle interactions. Like, for example, people that stay in our hotels, we don't hand them a handbook on how to be sustainable, but we also don't do things like initiatives that sort of slap people in the face and say, hey, if you don't change your sheets, we'll give you a discount or something like that.
Right.
We just let our guests be our guests and take the cue from them. So we have hooks for towels, for example. If you put your towels on the hooks, we won't change them. If you don't want the service, let us know. Otherwise, we do typically change the sheets every day, but that's the standard procedure. If you want to let us know not to, we're happy to. Put a do not disturb on your door, which is actually a stone in our case because we don't have plastic hangers. Little rock you can put on your shelf outside and it says not now. But little reminders, like we have a timer in our showers that you can turn around. It's a little hourglass to remind you what a 5-minute shower looks like. It doesn't turn the water off when it's over, but it just reminds you what that looks like.
I don't want to be reminded of what a 5-minute shower. There's so many things I think I do right, and then I'm like, but my bath.
It's just little tongue in cheek, poking, letting people know that there's ways out there to reduce waste and be more conscious. If you take that home with you and a practice, even if it's one thing for us, we're excited. We even have an initiative throughout all of our guest rooms that if somebody wants to leave something behind, like an old sweater that they decided got a bigger hole in it or something, or they buy something new at a shop in San Francisco, or New York or what have you, and they no longer have any room and they want to get rid of something, they can actually, instead of just throwing it away in the room or leaving it there, assuming somebody will do something with it, we have a little placard in our guest rooms that says one less thing. They just put that placard on top of the item and we will be sure to donate it to a local charity on their behalf.
Wow. That is incredible, because I'm conscious, and I'm going to ask you a question about this in a minute. I'm really conscious of this when I'm traveling, the amount of things that I like acquire, especially when I'm on the road for a big event, acquire, unpack, schlep, move, and then like how quickly you fill up that lovely little bin that they give you when you're engaged in work in particular. You're like, where did all of this come from? What do you notice is like, has anything changed for you in the way you travel or the way you experience the world since you came to One Hotels?
I think I am a little bit more conscious about how much I pack and, not taking too much with me, whether it's because it adds weight to the plane. Not like I'm not going to add weight to the plane, but, I think lighter. I suppose I want to put less emphasis on the footprint that I leave, so to speak. So I think how to do things more efficiently. I definitely have learned more design tips, from working at this brand than I've ever learned before, just about how everything can be perfectly imperfect. We definitely believe in the wabi-sabi complexities of design here. It's like nothing has to be exactly perfect. Things don't need to be shiny and polished. They can be recycled. We even have some chairs in our lobby that our designers got from a secondhand store. Didn't even refurbish, just got some repurposed leather to do new seats on them, but they're basically these beautifully designed chairs that somebody otherwise was unloading onto a thrift store. There's just so much you can do in design that's beautiful, but doesn't have to cost as much money as you think, and also can just be so simple that it's beautiful, even if it's not perfect.
Well, and I think that perfectly imperfect for most people can also make them feel more at home.
Yes. I mean, we have we have basically designed spaces that we feel people should be able to be comfortable in the minute they walk in the door. Yes, scent is also an important part of that. Not only do we have the biophilic design, which actually changes the nature of the air in a building, it adds more oxygen, and that it translates into people feeling more relaxed. It connects them back to nature. But we, of course, have a hotel scent, like a lot of hotels. But ours is actually all natural scents, very woodsy. I wouldn't say masculine or feminine, but it basically puts you at ease the moment you walk in. You really feel like you've entered a retreat or a sanctuary versus a hotel lobby. And the furniture is comfortable, and it's not, again, nothing's perfect. It doesn't feel like if you sit in it, you'll break it. We want people not only staying in the hotel, but people from outside in the city to come in and enjoy it. We offer lots of workspace, communal spaces, lots of places to plug in to make sure you have enough power on your devices. We don't offer a business center here because we feel like people aren't printing as much anymore, luckily. And also, boarding passes are pretty much a thing of the past. So hopefully, the space can be just utilized with your own devices. We don't have to add any more, power users out there with, printers being constantly on, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, gosh. Okay. So I can think of 3 directions I want to take this conversation, and but the aroma piece is really just stuck with me. I will come in. I'm dying to experience your property, but that sold me right there. I'm like, I need to come smell One Hotel's distinctive scent, because I cannot stop noticing the scents that other hotels put out and how much they aggravate me now. I never understood like scent sensitivity before. And I'm sorry, but it's the Ritz. Before it was the Ritz that made me notice it, and now I can't unnotice it.
Well, I love that scent too when I worked for them, actually. But the difference is, there's just some that are more of a perfume, and there's some that are more of an actual scent or an aromatherapy. And I think that's what ours is that it's really more based on aromatherapy than it is on perfume scents. And whether that's the base or the actual, the actual smells that they incorporate, but it's called kindling, and it literally just smells like a forest, like it's got eucalyptus in it. Even our spa products, there's also this whole controversy that there's still a lot of brands out there that offer single-use plastics. They still have the small bottles in their rooms. We haven't since day one, so we've always had large format, refillable pump mechanisms in the showers. We use Bamford, which is our spa partner, and that is a spa partner based out of the Cotswolds in the UK. And Lady Carol Bamford, who created this company, is a knighted dame, and basically a forerunner in organic skincare as well as aromatherapy. So all the products that we have in our shower have this amazing, invigorating scent of eucalyptus and mint, but it doesn't stay on you like perfume, like a lot of the products you get in other chains. You actually walk out of there, you can still sort of smell it lingering, but it doesn't stay on you, so it doesn't conflict with anything you may wear, or again, doesn't stay on you like a perfume. So
or drive other people crazy in the process.
Exactly. It's brilliant.
I would hope you notice it and then you forget it, like if you were in the property. So I'm so curious, when you were talking about learning, like to the design things that have inspired you since working there, what has also inspired the gentleman farmer in you, since that's
well, that was a personal direction I wanted to take for some time. Finally realized that back in 2019, shortly before the pandemic, but purchased a piece of land, a little over 3 acres, with a small house up in northern Lake County near the Mendocino border, across from an area called the Blue Lakes, and just love it. We went up there, thinking it was going to be like a second home, get away from the city every weekend. It's about a 2.5-hour drive. And the pandemic turned it into a permanent home for my husband. He decided to retire from being a chef, a catering chef specifically at the time, as everything went away. And so he just decided to take advantage of having the house and using that for the lockdown, so to speak, took the dog and went up there. So we kind of have a little long distance thing going on now for the last 4 years. where I'm up there every weekend. But we did actually end up farming the land. So we created market gardens, and we actually sell at a local farmers market every Saturday. Two of them now, actually. And then plus we've expanded into wholesaling to a natural food store, and some caterers and things like that. So lots of little projects, and we're about to expand into a kitchen line. So we will be doing some prepared foods that'll be available in the Nature's Food Center in Lakeport, California. But yeah, that's
Small affair. This is no small thing at all.
no, it turned into just a, pivoted, if you will, to a different business. And, plus having the advantage of somebody living up there full time, we were able to bring chickens into the mix. So we have fresh farm eggs, and we have our goats that help us eat the hay in the backfield. So yeah, super fun.
Oh my God, I love it. And you are far from the only couple I know actually who have a long distance thing, whether work did it or the call to be in another part of the world. And it can be good for the relationship. It can be challenging it could be the best thing that ever happened to you.
So far, 4 years, it's all going well. So knock on wood.
I live in a very small space in Berkeley with my spouse, and I've definitely have times when we're like, sure would be nice if we had another place one of us could be for a big chunk of time.
Or at least one more bathroom.
At least one more bathroom, for sure. And so I think, does the hotel keep bees on the roof?
We do. Yeah, we kind of have the full regimen of everything you can hopefully expect from a sustainable resource. We have our own chef's garden on the roof, along with bee apiaries for pollination. And we honestly use, I would say 90+% of what's up there. There are some ornamental flowers just to add interest up there, but for the most part, it's culinary herbs, like a bay tree. We've had a kaffir lime tree up there. We've grown lemongrass, we've grown celery, we've grown artichokes, little quantities of things that he's incorporated into the culinary program, but a staple of things like mint and the culinary herbs that are used in our bar program a lot. Shiso, Japanese shiso leaves for one of the cocktails that we have, we've done up there. So yeah, it's usable, and it cuts down obviously on the footprint. We don't have to order as much things to be delivered. So yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing and so lovely. Let's talk a little bit about where you are in the city, the geography of, San Franciscans will know this well, but but people who come in and out of here all the time might not know as well. You're right along the waterfront. You're right across from the Ferry Building. Who do you see in your surroundings that are your core business partners and opportunities to share the bounty of the folks that you support with your hotel?
Yeah, I think as in real estate, location, it's everything. And in the city right now, it's one of the most dynamic neighborhoods. I was here prior to opening the property in June of last year. It was a really good time to re-enter the marketplace as businesses were starting to have people come back to the office. We're right at the edge of downtown. So we're connected to the financial district. We're connected to the tech gully or gulch or whatever you want to call it. You can walk to the Salesforce Tower in less than 10 minutes. So all the names are around us. There's Google, there's Salesforce, there's Gap headquarters. There's a lot of business drivers around here, and that has been nice and robust since we reopened. What's been kind of lacking in the city is the return of the leisure business and the tourism and that kind of thing. We're not going to see similar tourism numbers to 2019, apparently till 25 or 26, according to our SF Travel organization.
I just read that report. That's right.
Yeah. But we are seeing a lot of robust business on both ends. So we're seeing strong corporate and group business during the week, as well as strong weekends. The location has a lot to do with that. So we, in order to partner here, this hotel has modest meeting space. Not a lot. We have one small ballroom that's 1,750 square feet. So if a group gets much more than about 50 attendees here, it starts to not work. We like to keep things not, we want people to have space. We want them to feel comfortable. We don't want them to feel crowded. We don't want to cramp the space just because the fire code says you can. And we don't have a lot of breakout space either. We have 2 small rooms that can accommodate about 12 people, a boardroom and a private dining room, as well as the ballroom. So we have to partner with local entities like the Commonwealth Club is across the street from us on the Embarcadero. They have great space. And then Pier 27, which is the cruise ship terminal, does a lot of meetings and events when the cruise ships are not in town. So we're on their recommended list as well. And then, of course, you can't beat the Ferry Building, which is directly across from us. So not only do they have some spaces for meetings and they can refer us, but we have everything that they offer for our guests to enjoy. So places to eat, places to shop, the great views, the farmers markets, Tuesday, Thursday, and then the big one on Saturday. So yeah, it's no surprise to me that the weekends have started becoming as strong as they have. We have a gorgeous location overlooking that Ferry Building. We have an outdoor patio that we activate all the time. We have what we call sunset sessions on Thursdays and Fridays, and then summer Saturdays in the morning. We do DJ activations out on the patio. So that really gets people pumped up and come over for cocktails. Very strong, robust cocktail program here. Love our drinks. As I think San Francisco uses happy hour as a verb. So you really do have people happy houring all the time throughout the week. And then now the weekends when the Ferry Building's going with the farmers market, it's a great spot to come over and have a drink and a different perspective of where you just were. And then the ferry, of course, bringing people over from Sausalito and Marin, and it's fantastic. So we have a lot of traffic in this area, keeps things clean and safe.
Yeah, I was going to say, it feels very alive and at the same time spacious whenever you can get to the Embarcadero and the waterfront. It's if somebody was asking me what to do, like I've got a weekend or I've only got, 24 hours that aren't booked with corporate obligations, what should I do? I'm like, get to the Embarcadero. Just get to the Embarcadero, walk the Embarcadero, experience all of the things that you just named, go for as long as your feet can carry you. And it also has the advantage of being one of the flatter stretches you can walk in our beautiful city.
It is, or bike for that matter. And with that, we actually offer our guests a fleet of e-bikes, as well as I am the only hotel that I know of out there that is in possession of 2 Velocity bikes that are a partnership with Nespresso. So they're actually made out of recycled Nespresso pods.
Oh.
They're even purple. They have little purple fenders. They're the coolest standard bikes. So we have a couple of those, and then we have the fleet of
the sexy ones.
Well. Yeah. So our guests can, ride those around the city, as well as we have an Audi program. So Audi's our official electric vehicle partner for our brand throughout. And each property has a house car that is an Audi fully electric e-tron, but we have 2. So the second one is actually reservable by our guests for up to a 2-hour test drive. So you could go across the Golden Gate and bridge and back if you like.
Wow, that's awfully nice. That's a huge value add for people visiting the city. I'm curious, this was a big shift for you. You've worked in all these really big brands for many years, but big brands and big properties, right? When you were at the Ritz, you were repping a ton more conference and meeting space.
Yes.
What's the shift been like for you, and what drew you to One Hotels?
Yeah, so I did spend, over 18 years of my career with Marriott properties, starting here in the city with opening the JW Marriott in Union Square. And then I did some off-property work as our sales dynamic changed a little bit. I went back on property to Marriott in San Jose. That was a big convention property with 500 rooms. And then I started with Ritz Carlton. The longest run I had was at the Ritz Carlton in Half Moon Bay. Amazing resort with a lot of space, especially outdoor, and resources like a spa and the golf and all of that. So more selling a destination than anything, because Half Moon Bay, really is kind of a place you go to and stay there. You don't get around too much because it's more difficult to get in and out. So creating ways of people to be able to enjoy the area. So that was a absolute great experience for me, especially like to learn about a destination sell and things like that. And then my last year with Ritz Carlton was reopening the iconic Ritz Carlton here in Nob Hill. So did that. But I think at this point in my career, I was really searching for something new and a change. But at the same time, I don't think I'm in the mood to do bigger and more complex, I guess, at this point. So this particular project was, thrown my way to look at, and I didn't even realize that One Hotels was created by Barry Sternlicht, and I actually worked under Barry opening a W hotel a million years ago before I joined Marriott. So
followed him around inadvertently, like
yeah, there was only like 5 W's at the time I joined W. So pretty similar to here, because we've opened like 4 properties since I've joined here. It's been kind of crazy, and it's going to get crazier in the next couple of years. But I really enjoy it. There's a lot of momentum, and the popularity of the brand, just like when W launched, it was very different, very unique. It had a message. I really, because of my personal experiences, especially the farmer part of me, I guess, the social and sustainable and ethical responsibility really does resonate with me. So I kind of feel like it's a brand that just ticks all my boxes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I can see why it spoke to you when it did. That it's amazing. I'm curious, especially maybe it's relevant to like a career shift or a job shift or not, but how you personally stay on top of trends, how you're continuously learning, and is that provided by your employer, or are you expected to go seek it yourself?
I think one of the more interesting things about One Hotels, and this is the way that W was when it was first iterated as well, marketing is like primary for us. So keeping on the pulse of trends, really paying attention to our digital customers, people that are following us on various channels, and putting out a product that makes sense to make sure people understand what the brand is all about, staying aligned with partners that we get together with and collab with. It's really a huge focus here. And it is not only brand driven, but it's driven by each individual property, where in some cases, when you get into a larger corporate structure, brand tends to overshadow everything and kind of takes, the huge percentage of the marketing responsibilities off the properties. So that's not the case where I am now. It's really more grassroots. It's very fulfilling because we get to be very creative. And honestly, we kind of have to seek out what we need to do. And the way that I do that is by having a team of people that know what they're doing. I do spend a good amount of time just kind of looking through our channels and seeing who's following us, and looking for ways to collab with people. But I have a marketing manager as well, that's all she does. I worry about the sales effort here too, and closing on groups and such. But the marketing aspect is much more fulfilling than it was in a larger corporate structure for me. So I feel like I have the ability to put us in a direction that I want to go in, and drive that. And it's very, very good for me.
That's great. That's great. Are there things that you in particular do, or that you would encourage, say, the people on your team to do in the realm of continuing education or continuous learning?
Oh yeah, our company now that it's grown to 11 hotels and growing, is really starting to build out something they call it SH University. So they're starting to build out that a lot. I actually have a team of people that are very seasoned, that have been in the hotel business for a lot of years at various brands, whether it's Four Seasons or Kempton Hotels, et cetera, and Virgin Hotels. And at the same time, anytime we have a learning opportunity, they are so open to exploring it and seeing what it's all about. I just had 2 of my sales team at our annual conference stay an extra 2 days to attend a sales training that was offered by the company. And these people have been through a lot of sales trainings for different brands, and they came back really excited about what they learned, or were reminded of, or how to look at something differently. So I think that's part of what our brand strives to do too, is present things and offer things to our teammates that really are meaningful, so that you don't feel like, oh God, we're going to that training again. So I was excited to see their attitudes about that, because oftentimes it's very easy just to fall into that and say, oh, I've been through that, I've been there, done that. But yeah, it's been very exciting to see their excitement and their enjoyment about it. Yeah, always offering ways of people to learn, grow, get certifications. I myself am certified as a meeting professional, and I wholeheartedly support my team in going forward. I have my conference services manager here is also a CMP. So yeah, I believe in that wholeheartedly. If any of my sales managers want to invest the time and all of that, we're here to support them.
That's incredible. Is there somebody that you much earlier in your career or even now really admired and saw as a mentor or somebody that you learned from?
Yeah, I've had a couple in my career. I think one that really sticks out because it was a younger part of my career. I had just moved over into sales. I really started my career out in operations. I was a bellman, was my first hotel job. And I was a front desk person for months, and then got a promotion, became a supervisor, and then quickly a manager of front desk, and I stayed in front office operations for a lot of years. And then I had a sales director at one of my hotels. It's now the Graduate in Oakland, but it used to be called the Waterfront Plaza Hotel.
Okay.
Yeah, and the woman's name is Suzanne Rudisil, and she encouraged me to consider moving into sales, and in fact, created a position for me. So I was kind of like a business development, like they had enough group sales managers, but she saw fit to know that there was still a way to get more business into the hotel, develop corporate accounts, with business travel, also finding group within those. So that's what she created for me. And I kind of became that traveling salesman in a way, knocking on people's doors, finding the right contacts. So kind of like, the bug bit me after that, and I stayed in sales till now.
And here you are. That's a great story. That's a really great story. What are some things you're looking forward to? This will be my last question for you. So, you're almost, unsafe territory. What some things you're looking forward to that the hotel's doing or that the city's doing or the plan?
Yeah, very encouraged of the new campaign that SF Travel has launched. Really showcasing, what the city is all about. I mean, this is a world-class city. We were always at the top of, the visitors list, and we will be again. There's just no reason why. It's one of the most beautiful cities ever. We just had an amazing celebrity, so to speak, that stayed here last weekend and posted live stories on his Instagram about what a vibrant, amazing city this is. So there's no end to that. I think people have to realize that every big city has its problems, and we will overcome them. You can't go to any large city these days and not see a homeless issue. It's of course more visible here in San Francisco. We're only 49 square miles, and less than half of that is where visitors actually go. So yeah, the perception is different here. And so, and then, coupled with irresponsible news. Okay, I said it, sorry, but
you go right ahead and say it. It needs to be said. Yeah. It's irresponsible, and it's skewed, and it's it's vicious and unnecessary.
And when it's coming from your own news sources, it hurts a little bit more. Yes. I actually worked in Oakland years ago during a little bit of a murder spree, if you will, in Oakland. And our own newspaper was touting headlines about how Oakland is the murder capital of the world. I mean, how do you stand a chance when your own newspaper labels you that way? So yeah, I find it irresponsible. I find it one-sided. You hear all the stories about the downward spirals and all of the stores closing. There are stores closing everywhere across the country. It's not just San Francisco, but of course the media has picked up on this, death spiral story, and they love doom and gloom.
And speaking of spiral, they like incorrectly and erroneously amplify it to make it worse. Like, the mall is closing. No, it's not. The Nordstrom is closing. Like, chill out. Yes. I think it's also deeply socially irresponsible to exaggerate the problem of homelessness when we have a national and global housing crisis, crisis that is fueling the housing crisis, and then to just point at people on the street and say, how are we going to make these people move and get out of the way?
Not the right question.
Not the right question to be asked.
Yeah. So, growing up and living here my whole life, you see it amplified, you see it a little bit less sometimes. Unfortunately, the pandemic did no good for us for 2 years. So we're in the state we're in now. We're not going to be there forever. So I think it's encouraging that SF Travel has a very, very hard job to promote a city and be the destination marketing organization for a city that's getting such bad press and trying to turn that around. But they will. They will be a part of it. We as a hotel and hospitality community will be a part of it. I don't think people should be afraid and write off San Francisco as a destination because, by the way, you're going to get shot or mugged or killed in any other city just as likely as you would here.
And highly unlikely if you're a tourist or anybody for that. It's high. The statistical likelihood of any of those things is still incredibly low anywhere you go.
Exactly. So again, you probably have an easier chance of getting hit by lightning. But that said, we know how it goes. I think people's attitudes will change. I think travel will certainly return, especially as global economies shift. People have more money to spend. That's part of the issue too. We saw, even last summer, we saw so many UK tourists last summer, but then because of the UK money changes, you see less of it this year. But you see more from other countries like Germany or Italy or Spain or whatever it is that's driving it right now that people are coming over. So there is still international travel. It's just unfortunately not at the volumes that it was at the peak. But it will get back there slowly but surely. So I'm encouraged by that. I'm encouraged by, where I work and globally expanding as well and seeing this brand translated into many other markets, especially like the one in Paris looks so amazing. It's actually being designed by a Japanese architect known for doing green buildings. They're calling it like the living lungs of Paris. Melbourne, Crete, all these different locations that this brand I think is really going to resonate into. And hearing from our developing community for our brand too about what their criteria is to really find locations that resonate with the brand. It's not just, maybe Barcelona is the hottest city out there, but does our brand fit Barcelona? Does the profile fit? So they're really thoughtful about where it goes. We want to be in countries, we want to be in cities that have like-mindedness as us. Are we able to build sustainably there?
Well, you're beautifully positioned for that here.
Yeah.
Just because that's something that culturally the Bay Area has long embraced. But I have long thought that we have, as fantastic as SF Travel's new campaign is, I always feel there's a piece missing, that this is a mild climate year round. While you are suffering in 80% of the US right now with extreme heat, come here. We have natural air conditioning,
Exactly.
You will feel so relieved to step off the plane in San Francisco and be like, I can just walk right out. And if anything, I'm gonna wish I'd brought another layer, right? It's like
in fact, I think they should add that to their campaign. Somebody who starts out in layers in the morning and then changes throughout the day.
Absolutely. I always think of that curse from 30 Rock, you're moving to San Francisco, have fun always carrying a light sweater.
I'll take it any day.
It's the blessing and the curse of living here. Your hotel is fantastically positioned for that. Thank you for spending time with me, Joel. People can find you on LinkedIn, which we'll post. And we want to give the hotel URL, which we can also post.
Yeah. It is One Hotels. It's the number one, hotels.com/San-Francisco.
San-Francisco. All right. And we'll be sure to include that. Thank you so much for your time today.
Oh my God, it was a pleasure, Paige. Thank you very much.
Thanks for listening to the Kennedy Events Podcast. Come back next time and be sure to click subscribe to get future episodes.